Hey everybody, it's your gay sports fanatic today, and we are getting really close. In fact, very close to the start of the college football season. So I did my Big Ten preview, and certainly last but not least, I'm going to do the SEC preview, the other super conference that we have now. So, as you know, Texas and Oklahoma have entered the SEC, and they are both going to have to step up their game and fast. Let me tell you, because it's a new ball game for them. But in the case of one of the two, I think they can do it. So let's dive into the SEC. Now, you're going to see I'm an Arkansas Razorback fan, full disclosure. I have been all my life. However, you'll notice that's not going to skewer my analysis here at the SEC. We're not going to be focusing on the Hogs. Not much at all, actually. So when you look at the teams that are, of course, currently ranked in the top, five, the top 10, you're looking at, of course, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss. Beyond that, you have Texas A&M. Of course, you have LSU in there. You know, all the familiar teams from the SEC that are always in there battling. Like I said, as a Commodore sang years ago, it is a brick house. Okay, it is. Nobody has an easy schedule in here, but I've got the teams that I just mentioned that are appearing right now to be at the top. So let's start and look at Texas's schedule because they're ranked, I think, fourth right now. And Texas, okay, does not have it easy. So I'm going to jump to Texas's schedule real quick. I'm putting my readers here. I haven't been able to see anything since I was 14. So just anyway, here's the read. So yeah, Texas, okay, they got the biggest non-conference game of the year that they play at Michigan. Okay, so right there, I think Texas will win that game. By the way, even though it's at Michigan. But that's no easy task ever to go into Ann Arbor. I don't care, especially after they're the defending national champions. So anyway, rest of the schedule for Texas not easy at all. Of course they play Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. Then they get Georgia right the next week coming into Austin. They go to Vanderbilt, they'll win that. Then Florida at home should win that. Then they go to Arkansas. I'm going to tell you, I know you're going to look at this and think, okay, this guy is biased, wishful thinking, dreaming stuff up. This is a game that Texas, if they're going to blow it to a team that's nowhere near as good as them, it might be in Fayetteville this week. And I'll tell you why, because they have to play this schedule, and Arkansas is sandwiched on the road in between Florida and Kentucky and then Texas A&M. So that could be the ones, but they play at Texas A&M. All in all, I like this schedule. I don't think it's a step up from what they're used to playing, but Texas is a much better team than they have been certainly in the past. So I think this is a Texas team. Of course, made it to the Final Four last year. One completed pass really away from making it to the title game, and who knows from there. But Texas is got the talent, the schedule. It's an upgrade, but they can handle it. I do look for the eyes of Texas and the SEC in the country to be on Austin this year. So not going to put them down. I'm going to say they're for real. So I'm going to tab over here real quick because I'm just thumbing through these. I can't. Too old to memorize all these myself. Let's look at Georgia, who is number one. Of course, everybody's pick to do it. They had started the season against Clemson, neutral site. Clemson, I don't think it's going to be that great. So I think take Georgia here. They play at Kentucky, win. Then they're at Alabama. Never want to do that. I mean, you never want to go to Alabama. I know this is kind of a transition year with Saban gone and all that. It's still not something you want to see on your schedule. So we got Alabama, they got Auburn at home, Mississippi State at home should win those. As I said before, they're at Texas. That's going to be a tough road to hoe. Let me tell you. That's got a I say a loss on it for the Bulldogs. They play, of course, their annual game, largest cocktail party in the world against Florida. They're at Ole Miss. That, to me, and I'll get to Ole Miss in a second, I'm telling you what, that could easily, without any question, be another L for Georgia. So that gives them two losses right there. Tennessee at home. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to talk about Tennessee a little bit. Look out. Look out. Tennessee, I know it dipped last year. This isn't one of my dark horse teams in the SEC, but they got them at home. We'll see how that is when we get closer to it. But the rest of the schedule, not hard. Georgia Tech. So So there are two losses that I see that Georgia could really have, and then make it 2.5. So would be at Alabama, of course, and then at Texas. All right, those are the two, particularly at Texas. And then keep an eye on this Tennessee game, even though it's at home. I'm just going to put a hedge in on that, and we'll get there and we'll talk about it. So that's Georgia. I want to switch to Oklahoma real quick. They're the new kids on the block, and they are getting one rude awakening. Let's look here. I looked at their schedule and I was like, whoa, Nelly, what a switch from what they're used to. So anyway, okay. So here is Oklahoma's schedule. So for you Sooners out there, heads up. So Temple at home win, Houston at home win, Tulane at home win, Tennessee at home. Not going with any W there for you. At Auburn, no, I'm not going with a W there either. That's a flip the coin for me. Texas, I don't think you win that game at all. Your big rival in the Cotton Bowl, I don't think so. South Carolina at home should win. At Ole Miss, no. No, Ole Miss is a top 10 team. They'll be in the playoff, I think. You don't want to mess with Ole Miss this year. Then it gets to the Maine, and then at Missouri. Folks, I'm going to talk about Missouri in just a second as a dark horse. You don't want to mess with Missouri this year. I'll talk a little bit about why. They're at Missouri. uh, Nada. And then Alabama at home. And then at LSU. So look at this schedule that Oklahoma gets now. Last year, they had Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Texas, USF, Kansas, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, BYU, TCU, Arizona. This year, we're looking at Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, Ole Miss, at Missouri, Alabama, LSU. Okay, there's a big difference in the schedule there. And Oklahoma is not up to this schedule this year. They'll get there, but this year they're not up to it. They're going to have a number of losses. So the favorites again, I'm going to put Georgia up there. Once again, Texas right up there. If you put a gun to my head and said who's going to win this conference, I would probably go with Texas. Georgia right there. Alabama is a complete bit of a mystery to me. And I know that's weird to say, but let's look at Alabama's schedule real quick. Alabama, they have a tough non-conference game at Wisconsin. That's no gimme. I think Alabama will win, but I really don't. These are teams that could go many directions. They get Georgia at home. It's going to be tough. At Vanderbilt, South Carolina. Then at Tennessee, no. Now I'm going to talk about this in a second. I'm looking at that as a loss for Alabama. Missouri at home. Missouri going to be tough. At LSU, well, that's never easy in Death Valley. Then they're at Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma will put up a fight at Norman against them, and of course Auburn at home. Alabama's got a tough schedule, new coach. I do not look for them to compete for the SEC title. Right now, we're looking at Georgia and we're looking at Texas. I'm going to get to two dark horses here for you real quick. I had mentioned earlier the Missouri Tigers. This is a Missouri Tiger team that is a veteran team. Okay, these guys have been around the block for a while, and they are standing, in my opinion, to take a step towards doing a lot more. Their schedule this year, they're at Texas A&M. That'd be tough. Again, nobody gets out of here a lot live. Okay, out of the SEC. Auburn at home. They're at Alabama. Oklahoma at home, but at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, and then Arkansas at home. So they finish with three teams they should beat without question in the SEC. So I think their schedule is favorable as an SEC schedule can be. Missouri has it, and they also have a much better team this year. So watch out for Missouri. Also, I wanted to take a look real quick at Tennessee and tell you that they're my other dark horse. I don't think you want to mess with Tennessee this year. So Tennessee this year, they're of course they're at Oklahoma, as I mentioned. They're at Arkansas, should win that despite my shirt. They got Florida at home. I think they're going to win that. They got let's see, Alabama at home to Kentucky. They got their toughest games, except for at Georgia. Their tough stuff is at home, really. Now that Georgia game will be a nightmare for them, but they could win. So look out for Tennessee. Look out for Missouri. And then sitting right underneath that Texas Georgia level is Ole Miss. Okay, they're right there. They'll be in the playoff, and they may win this whole thing. So the SEC is going to be very exciting. Great teams really throughout. You could have some surprises in here as well. Teams that don't expect to do anything like this that could be a surprise, particularly at home. SEC teams at home, you really can't overlook anybody. Don't overlook a soul. So a team like a South Carolina and Arkansas could rise up on a home field and get their mojo and win one. They shouldn't. So to recap, my title contenders as we speak today, this will probably might change during the season. Of course, Georgia, of course, Texas. No big shock there. Next tier, Ole Miss, right on their heels. Right on their heels. Then I'm going to go beyond that to say Alabama. A lot of question marks. I don't know. They could go either way. Two dark horses, keep your eyes on. One of these two, if not both, is going to rise and cause a lot of noise in the SEC. Tennessee, Missouri. So that is my thoughts. It's going to be a great season in the SEC. I mean, it always is. But this conference now, adding Texas and Oklahoma, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. As I mentioned about the Big Ten preview I did, there's really just in this conference alone a great game every single weekend. So it's going to be a fun year, folks. And that's all I have to say on the SEC. Of course, during the season, we'll be following it every week. So hit subscribe. Got to say that first. And then if you like it, please comment. Give me some ideas or, hey, let me have it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I say some fairly controversial stuff on here. Nail me. Go ahead. But anyway, love me, hate me, don't ignore me. Hit that subscribe button. So it's your gay sports fanatic over and out. Thank you, you guys.